waiting for some opportunity to come down. There's nobody in the house. It's Sunday morning. I'm feeling fresh and fruity, even though I had some whiskey last night and was going to do the video last night while I was drunk so I could do silly voices and squeak a lot. But it never kind of happened because stuff went down in the house and it had to be dealt with there and then. Anyone who watched my vlog from yesterday would have known that I went to a new shop that was only a half-hour drive away. Slightly over half-hour, but it was much, much better than going to wretched, stinky Toys R Us, who have got Masterpiece Grimlocks in if you want one. I went to a place called All the Cool Stuff! What? And what was good about All the Cool Stuff? It had all the cool stuff! Oh, it was good. And for Kev off of swearing, here, watch this. You can pause as you feel necessary. You can go phone them up and speak to a very nice man called Dave. What a brilliant bloody name! Oh! Who I'm sure can organise Postman Pat to come and drop toys off at your very doorstep in exchange for quality English poons. I'd also like to point out that today's video is sponsored by a cup of tea, which is obviously one of the things that's necessary to go with. Oh, it's hot. Oh. Any toy review. Today's toy review is rather strange because after getting all revved up and excited about Hunt for the Decepticons Line 1, where out of Line 1, the only one that I've got is Ironhide because it's the only one that really gives me a Woody, because that silly Harrier jump jet thing's just feckin' awful. Oh, it's Hunt for the Decepticons Wave 3 Tomahawk! Whee! 2.5 minutes in, and only just got to the toy. Like reliving the horse. Right, first of all, we've got movie rotor blades. These aren't very movie. If you push them, they kind of, they get a bit stuck. Now, helicopter-wise, this is, I think lots of people are going to look at the front of that and go, it's an Apache gunship. But it's actually based more off a Russian Sukhoi, even though the Russian Sukhoi didn't have one of those things at the back. But rear propellers are really difficult when it comes to helicopter transformers because it's very difficult to know where you're going to put them. So you don't put them anywhere, you just take them off and put one of these little things in here. It doesn't spin or anything, which is rather disappointing. Oh, burpees. The other thing that's probably not so good about this one is a bit like Hailstorm. The missiles have got that, which is great, but it's got all this sticking out the back, which I'm not particularly a fan of. So they do fire. I'm going to remove these for now. Oh, hang on. I've lost it! Bugger! Oh, it went in the bin. I've had to rescue it. Ooh. It's a toy review, I can't believe it, at long last. Let's look at the detail. Right, underneath, is it a helicopter? Is it a folded up piece of mess? Well, it's kind of both, I guess. Alright, yes, VHS, but it's the back of the head. And as you can see, there is light piping galore on the back of the head, but we'll cover that in a moment. But underneath, I don't think you'd guess it was a robot. There's nothing that actually looks like feeties as such. It does have 3.5mm clips, or as I like to call them, Lego Man hands. They are actually Lego Man hands. It has Lego Man hands underneath, which means I could put Lego lightsabers in there if I went and dug through my box of Lego, which would be quite good fun. The undercarriage wheels, you can put them there, which means they're out, or you can fold them forwards, which means they're out. I don't really get why they move. The front one will tuck away like that, but it's still visible, but it's a helicopter and the downdraft would, you know, hide all that anyway. So helicopters can only go at a certain speed, because I think once they get over about 320 miles an hour, from all of my technical plane knowledge in the past, they would fall out of the sky because the rotor blades would go through a sonic boom, fly off, and then you die in a flaming ball of death. That wouldn't be so bad, would it? It's got these lovely big air intakes on the front. It's got some quite nice detail inside the cockpit. I mean, it's got a seat, but it's got no pilot, which means you'd have to have a faux Revenge of the Fallen, fakey kind of movie-verse hologram pilot in there. It's got a Blue Thundery style cannon underneath that moves, which I'm assuming would be one of the ones where when the pilot moves his head, then the gun would move as well, which would be great in the universe where he had a pilot, but he kind of doesn't. That's about it. It's got really, really... okay, I'm going to do a Grimmy. Oh, sculpted detail, but it has got sculpted detail all over it, which is superb. Not too much, obviously, it's a helicopter, it wouldn't be covered in panelling, but I think the panelling kind of hides a lot of the where the lines would be for the transformation, which is quite good. This here, in fact, this here looks better on the camera as it does in real life, because obviously this is black, but it's really picking up the light there. You've got little exhaust ports that come here, which is very sexual. And then he's got guns galore. He's proper tooled up, because you've got missile, and then your rocket launchers on the end there, and then your fiery missiles here, which do come into play in the robot mode. And speaking of which, let's do that, okay? So you take two of these, you push them together. Now you can do, in the instructions it says to do it in a 2. I don't like that. I like to put it in a 4 like that, because then it looks like the back of Blackout. But while transformation's going on, you kind of need as the least amount of kibble in place as possible. Now the first thing you do is you take the feeties and pull them up, and you just sort of get the whole bottom section, which doesn't really, it's got 2 pegs. Can you see peg there and a hole there? So it does hold it all in place, but you have to get it right, and once you've done it once and know how it goes, then that's it, you're kind of sorted on that one. Okay, so I'm going to move the camera up a little bit because we're running out of space. I'm loving having 15 minutes. Oh, 15 minutes for a toy review. It's far too long, no one's going to watch it, but I'm going to have some fun. And then what is quite difficult, these split apart at the back here. Okay, which I don't think it should be like that in helicopter mode. I think it should be like that, but I'm not quite sure. I think it should split apart. I don't know. You've got to separate the back, but where you've got these 2 little holes here, they're attached to pegs underneath, so you have to sort of lift and then pull, which I think over time probably isn't going to be too good for your figure. I think that's going to cause an issue. So you need to lift that up, and you need to lift that up. Okay, so that's going to get everything out the way, and then you can sort of pull all your bits off. But these, see, they can be an arsehole. They are an arsehole. And in order to get everything sort of moving properly, you need to pop stuff off. So I'm going to leave that off for now, and we'll reattach it later on. You'll get the gist of it. So on the sides here, these plugged in here, flush, and then you lift that out where you've got a beloved ball joint. Okay, and we'll do that on the other side. Pull that out and move that around, and then you've got to push them down, because that's how the arms are going to go. Now these are automatically going to want to swivel down. Now again, I didn't do this with the instructions. It could go like that, which would be much better. No, this is the new rule that we're going to do now. The air intakes are going to push down. I'm sure it's not the way it's supposed to be. Well, I'm not quite sure, but it's my toy and I'm going to do what I want. These, you've got hole, peg, push that in, that becomes his body section. And now the legs are quite cool, because what you do is you bring the toesies forward, you bring the whole bottom section out, which is the bottom half of his leg, so you straighten it all out, and then the bit that was the front becomes the back, because that bit becomes the heel and that bit becomes the toe. So let's do it again here. So that all comes out, look, so pull all that out straight, pull it out straight, line it all up, and then turn the front to the back and the back to the front. And then you've got his bottom half. Legs are quite chonky, very movie-esque. Quite like it. I think they're kind of Decepticon-y. They're very spindly. They are very Decepticon-esque. But that's all right. Handies, you literally just take the whole back section forward, and then the fisties are attached to that. I quite like it. It means the arm looks a bit of a funny shape, but it's okay. Again, we do the same here. But then you've got that on the back. Not quite sure whether it's supposed to be like that or closed up, but that's the way it is for now, and that's the way it's gonna stay. And then you take the helicopter bit at the front, pull it down, and then as it's halfway down, you pull that out, put your thumb underneath, and get the bloody landing gear out of the way for now. So, thumb underneath, fiddly fiddly! Okay, push that down, that back in, landing gear back up underneath, and then sort of push that down. It doesn't really peg into anything, but it's on a nice stiff joint, so that's alright, it'll stay. Head's on a ball joint, so have a look at the head mould. Head sculpt! The head sculpt, he's wearing a helmet. Why would this goes on the sea spray thing, why does a toy need to wear a helmet? I'm not quite sure. Light piping are glorious on this, which I'll do that last because I'll have to move the camera. And then all you do is, from now on, this is the new rule. Or is it the new rule? No, it's not. That stays forward. That's fine. Learning as we go. Excellent. Learning on the job. So that goes on there like that. Then you can see you've got your ball joint there, which we need to reattach. So you put your propeller blades underneath. Reattach. Get this out of the way. Reattach that. Like that. Move that back up there. Move the fisty back out. And let's see if we can stand him up a little bit. Let's do some camera jiggery pokery. He's quite large, ladies and gentlemen. He's a big formidable bad boy to play with. So let's give him a bit of a pose because he's absolutely enormous and I need to get him on the effing camera. There. Transformers Hunt for the Decepticons Tomahawk. Now he's pretty good. He's got ball joints at the hips, hinge at the knee, hinge at the ankle thing. They don't twist, but because the toes are quite big, the toes are actually set. If you look at the shape of the feet, the toes are set so he's kind of supposed to stand with them wide apart like that. That toe is longer than that toe. No, I'll show it on the camera. That toe is longer than that toe. So when he stands up, it's all good. Okay, helicopter blades land behind. Articulation, that goes up and down, not quite sure why, doesn't seem to do anything. Ball joint on that. You've got just a normal hinge on the elbow, no movement on the wrists at all because of the transformation. Now that's okay, that's fairly forgivable. Head's on a ball joint. Posability, he's okay because of the way the problem is with the new stuff, okay? The hips are so malleable for positioning that when you move one or you try to get him into a pose, the other one moves automatically, and it is becoming a pain in the arse because they're getting less and less stiff when you stand them up. I mean, I got Brawn the other day, Revenge of the Fallen Brawn, and while you can pose him, it takes you ages to get him, so when you just touch him, just his own weight makes him want to do the splits, and I don't think that's really good enough. But that's from the back. No kibble. Is this kibble? Can we call this kibble? I like it. I think if you're going to have something, you might as well make it a feature. And that looks Blackouty, and Blackout was my favourite out of the first movie. But I mean, kibble-wise, there's nothing that screams helicopter parts on here. And what is on there with regards to helicopter parts, I think really helps with the characterisation of the figure. The chest looks really nice. These bits don't look too bad. They kind of limit his manoeuvrability because he does bang into his own rotor blades quite a lot. These can go up and down. You can sort of get them as flat as you can. These look gorgeous for his pecs. So that's it. That's it. Transformers, Hunt for the Decepticons, Wave 3, Tomahawk. Thank you to Dave for all the cool stuff. Give him a ring. He's a very nice guy. In fact, just talk Transformers to him because he will talk to you for ages. He's extraordinarily knowledgeable, which makes I'd say a nice change. I think that's very patronising because a lot of people probably do really know what they're talking about, but have to talk about it all day to sort of lose their passion for it. Whereas Dave actually made me a cup of tea and we just sat down and nattered Transformers for a day. This has been SMS number 1, and I've talked about toys! I did not speak of light piping, even though I said I was going to twice. Light piping, very sexual, I like it a lot. But what's clever is if I go like that, look, he's got his yellow sun visor, like a 1986 cop from Chips, and then if you go like that, he's got light piping under his light piping, which I can't find again. Like it?